Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you my review for The Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 10. And this episode is called The Next World. And this episode came out on February 21st, 2016. And I guess that's really all I have to say about the kind of the introduction. But yeah, this review really isn't going to be all that long. A lot happened in this episode, but I like this episode. I guess what I liked the most about it was kind of a different feel for this show. This was kind of more of a funny episode of The Walking Dead, which is kind of strange considering the fact that it's supposed to be this serious show. But this was kind of I thought, so I'm just going to go who... This episode was written by Angelina Kane and Corey Reed. I thought they took this episode kind of in a different direction, and they kind of did a more funny type of episode. This was basically 2 months after, everything that happened in the last episode. And yeah, I mean, I didn't even know until I read it, but basically... time moves fast in the Walking Dead universe, I guess, because literally, they literally jump from really quick. I don't know, but I'm flustering my words really bad. So obviously, there was 3 main storylines that took place in this episode. So yeah, but this was I can't really explain how it was a funny. I guess it's okay to have those funny episodes too, though, when it comes to this show, because the last episode and the episode before that were so serious, and Walking Dead's typically a serious show. I'm okay with once in a while having a funny kind of different feel to it. I mean, one, it's only the 10th episode anyways. You still have to get to episode 16. It's okay to kind of take a break from the main stories and kind of take a funny approach to it. I'm okay with that. I mean, there was some serious stuff in this episode, but not completely serious. I do think they did do one thing that's kind of, that was a plot device, but kind of, obviously that's something that's going to come through the big picture, probably eventually. So let's talk about this episode. So basically, this episode kicks off with Rick, Michonne, and Carl, and basically, they Rick and Dale go out on a run to get a bunch of food and supplies, and Denise wants Dale to promise that he'll bring back soda, because apparently Taylor was talking about soda in her sleep, and basically she's not sure if she loves or hates soda, so she wants to be surprised because she's not typically good at coming up with surprises. I thought it was pretty funny, actually, that Denise called it pop and Dale had no idea what she was talking about. I laughed pretty hard at that. And yeah, Rick and Dale leave, and Rick plays a song called "If My Heart Was a Car," which was by the old 70s, and it was actually pretty funny how Rick was jamming out to it and Dale just wasn't having it. So I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, and then basically but yeah, so that basically the beginning kind of gets a thumb in the middle. It wasn't necessarily anything good, it wasn't necessarily anything bad, it was just kind of just set up the main stuff in the next episode. And then I'm going to kind of talk about basically the episode kind of in chronological order, just because this episode really didn't kind of stick to one thing all the time. So, and the main 2 other storylines. So basically what happens is Rick and Daryl strike gold when it comes down to the finding food and supplies, because they find this truck and they have it has a ton of food in it, so they drive it out. So they drive away with it, and then they're gonna go get gas. Now, obviously, I think this is kind of one of those plot holes you have to kind of look past when it comes to The Walking Dead, because The Walking Dead in real life, I think if there was a zombie apocalypse, I think by this point you would run out of gas. But that's kind of like one of those plot holes you kind of have to forget about. And Dale is trying to break into a vending machine so he can get soda. And then Rick's like, what's the point of this? It's just soda and candy. And he says, I made a promise to a friend. And then a guy bumps into Rick, and Rick and Dale hold out their guns. And we find out that the guy was running away from like 10 walkers, and they said they're going to be here any minute now. And we found out that Rick and Dale put their guns down, and they thank him for the warning. Dale, and we found out the guy's name is Paul Rivera, whose real name is Jesus. No, sorry, his real name is Paul Rivera, but his friends call him Jesus. And if you look at this guy, he kind of looks like Jesus, so maybe that's why they call him Jesus. But yeah, then he takes off, and I thought it was kind of funny how he would constantly kept saying, you better hurry, 7 minutes before those walkers show up. I thought that was pretty funny. And then Rick was about to recruit this guy for to be a part of Alexandria, and it didn't happen. Dale wasn't having it, and Rick and Dale are suspicious about Jesus. I'm calling him Jesus, by the way, because he does look like Jesus. I was suspicious about Jesus, so they want to just follow this guy, and then they hear like a gunshot go off, which we find out was actually firecrackers, and Jesus had pickpocketed Rick and takes the keys and drives off with the truck, and then Rick and Dale have to run after it. I thought that was pretty funny how Dale was running. He just kind of ran so awkwardly. And then they find the vending machine, and Dale said the reason he was putting the vending machine was because he promised Denise that as a favor. And then Rick and Dale catch this guy, and the guy actually kicks Dale and Rick's ass until they pull out their guns. So the guy was actually tougher than Dale and Rick, you can make the argument. And then they tie him up. After the Jesus, like, I bet those guns aren't even loaded. And then Rick and Dale at the same time both kill a walker. And then they're like, I stand corrected. And yeah, they tie him up, and Rick and Dale drive away. Then Rick was listening to some more music, and we find out that the guy was on the roof and he falls off, and Dale chases after him. This kind of was like Dale trying to catch the chicken. It was pretty funny. And then yeah, Rick's gonna like try to hit this guy, and then Rick kills a couple of zombies on the way, and the truck and then Rick, Dale and Jesus struggle. Jesus saves Dale. He has him duck because a zombie was about to bite him, and he shoots the zombie. And then the truck drives into the ocean and hits Jesus on the way down, knocks him completely out. And then Dale just wants to leave him out there, but Rick says it's not the right thing to do because he did save his life, so then they leave. And Rick and Dale then have that... Now, I kind of think it's funny because I actually think this is pretty funny. The fact that now, maybe I shouldn't think this is funny, but now Dale has changed his mind about recruiting people, and Rick also did as well. Now Dale wants to recruit people. No, Dale doesn't want to recruit people, and now Rick wants to recruit people. I think that's hilarious. I kind of like it in TV shows where, like, the characters, now that they're going to get what they want, they completely change their minds to what the other character wanted to begin with. I think that's actually funny stuff. I know it's probably supposed to be serious, but I thought it was funny. And obviously it makes sense because Dale was, like, robbed of his crossbow, and then obviously he was robbed of his motorcycle. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was pretty funny. And then, yeah, Rick and Dale go to Denise, and they say that the guy needs help, needs some medical attention. Dale doesn't want to yeah, the guy to stay. And then Rick and Dale like leave as the guy's in the jail cell, and they're like, it was pretty dumb for us to go out there. And Dale's like, we're doing it again tomorrow, though, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. I thought that was funny. So yeah, that, you know what? I was originally gonna give that a thumbs in the middle, but that was pretty funny stuff. That gets an up. That was funny. And then obviously the storyline that was basically the serious part of the storyline in this episode was Spencer had gone out to do something with a shovel and a gun, but we weren't really sure. We weren't really sure what he was doing. So then Michonne goes out there to kind of investigate what he's doing, and Michonne wants to help him because she said that your mom said I have to find what I want, and I want to find out what you're doing. I want to protect you. And then Spencer says that you can't protect me. And later on in the episode, Carl and Eden are out there, and Eden said I guess they just go out there every day because Eden's like, why are we out here? It's like, well, because we're kids, and that's what kids do. And yeah, that's what kids do. So then Eden spots a zombie, and right when Carl is about to kill it, he tells Eden that they can't kill that one. So they get into a fight about it. And then Michonne wants to help Spencer, but Spencer says, what I want to do, I can't help with. And he stops constantly talking about how the home that he has now isn't his home anymore because his family aren't around. Then we see Carl running away from a zombie. We find out that that zombie was none other than Deanna. So because apparently Spencer, doing that herd, thought he saw Deanna, so that's why he was coming out here, because he knew he had to kill Deanna. And I actually thought that it was very symbolic that the son had to be the one to kill Deanna, so I liked that a lot. I thought that was a massive up. And then Michonne talks about how you are part of, you still do have a family. This community is your family. So I thought that was great. Then Michonne later goes and is pissed at Carl, and Carl says that, well, Spencer should have been the one to do it because it's family, and I would have done the same for you. And then the episode basically ends when Rick and Michonne, they kind of treated this like this was any old normal day, which basically it is, but I thought, that was pretty funny. And then they basically kiss, and they finally become a couple, and then they have sex, and then when they wake up the next day, which I actually think that's an up too, that they got together. I think that's an up that they got together, just because they've been together and around each other. I think that was an up. And then Jesus wakes up Rick, and then Rick and Michonne pull out their weapons and point at him, and this is supposed to be like a hook to kind of get us to tune into the next episode. But this episode was funny. I'll definitely say it was a 7 out of 10. It was a good episode. It was a pretty funny episode. I thought it was kind of a nice change because we had kind of like some depressing stuff happen, and this kind of shows that this was a new Rick. That this is a new world with this show, with this town now, and I like it. It was a good episode. I kind of would like to see more episodes like this, where they're just kind of fun. You don't really have to do a lot of thinking, and I was okay with this episode. I don't know if I would watch it again, but I wouldn't mind more episodes like this. I think this kind of can break up, obviously, when there's like a really serious episode. This can kind of bring the crowd into like a good mood. I wouldn't mind to see more episodes like this. I am especially happy now that Rick and Michonne are a couple. I think that's pretty damn cool, actually. I don't really have any downs for this episode. I really don't have any. I guess because basically there really were no downs. I think this episode was just to kind of fill time, but it's okay to have those type of episodes sometimes. I think this is a good episode. I would recommend watching it. Now I'm going to review the next episode.